What's happening, people? I'm here with the main man.
It's the champ.
Make sure you tune into Pep Talk UK, where it talks boxing and
big up.
Thank you, AJ.
Pep Talk UK.
It's time!
Everyone talk good game, but it don't really faze me. The man that ain't mad like Max, the boy that not murky like Ace B. And them gal walk the slide on the back, balling like a baby.
Oi, oi! Welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast, the podcast that talks the major boxing and football news from around the globe, real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag Real Talk on Pep Talk. Please subscribe to Pep Talk UK on iTunes and YouTube. Don't forget to like, share and comment. I'm your host, Frankie B, and I'm joined by a sick panel. Firstly, I'd like to welcome from the capital city of France, Paris, Pascal. How you doing, bro?
Je vais très bien. I'm very, very well. You know, ready to go, ready to talk sport and boxing and football.
Yes. So how's the move? Are you all over in the UK now?
Yes, I've been here for a few weeks now, getting acclimatized to the British way. It's very interesting, very interesting. Certainly, the women are very attractive, so I will get used to this place very quickly, I'm sure.
So you've seen a couple of gash here and there, yeah? A couple of gash.
Yes, I've seen some very, very good prospect baby mothers. Yes, a lot of them.
Hey, you got to be good to Delphine, man.
Of course, I was only joking, Delphine.
Oh man, hey Pascal, we're gonna keep it moving, bro. Actually, first of all, the start of the season's in a week's time. Are you excited?
Frankie, I'm excited about meeting up with you so we can go out clubbing. I'm sure you have a lot of places to take me.
I'm gonna take you to some dance hall places where the girls they really shake their thing.
Yeah, of course. I'm looking forward to do that. And yes, and the new season, of course, I'm looking forward to the new football season. It's going to be incredible. But for us, it will be the same outcome. So we're not going to be too excited. We know that Arsenal will not win the title, but it's still good to see that he's come around again so quickly.
That's it. And we just got to aim for fourth, and we'll be all right. We'll be Irie. Right.
Let's hope so.
So, Pass, you want to shout out your social media before we move on?
Of course, yes. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Pascal_the the bad mouth of now London, I suppose.
Yes, Pascal. Right, this week we have a strong American representation. Y'all ready? Right, first up is our US correspondent who is a writer for the Boxing News UK and represents Boxing Africa. It's my guy, Kenneth Buhari. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, Frankie. What's going on?
Mate, it's all good over here, mate. The weather's a bit dim. How's it like over there?
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, it's been a beautiful summer so far. It was pretty bad last week with the rain, but I'm soaking in right now.
Yeah. Just out of interest, how did you receive the Tupac film out there?
You know what? I didn't watch it because the truth is that
the reviews,
I didn't
right?
Watch it
yeah.
Well, not really the reviews, but lucky for all of us, Tupac practically gave us his real life, and all the videos, all the songs, and then all the unreleased stuff and everything. So I feel like I probably we the Tupac fans probably know more than whoever directed the movie. So I haven't seen it yet. I think it wasn't as well received as maybe the NWA movie was.
That was the best one. That was the best one.
Yeah, but they got to keep those going. It's great, that we're seeing all this stuff coming out now.
Yeah, it sure is, and we look out for the next one. Maybe we'll see a Drake movie soon.
Hold your breath on.
Hey, so Ken, you want to tell us a little bit more about how Boxing Africa is progressing?
BoxingAfrica.com. Add it, follow, join. It's been going really, really well. Great stuff. We've been targeting many different countries in Africa. I'm learning a lot just through the website. I'm learning what a huge scene is out there in Namibia, a country of 2.5 million people. They've had 3 past world champions. They've got Julius Ndongo now. We've interviewed him a couple times for the site. We just did an interview with Adrien Mendez, the Dominican fighter, former world champion. He's fighting in Ghana at the end of August. And obviously Richard Comey, we have an exclusive interview with Richard Comey coming out tomorrow. So for all your African news, and we got some American stuff. We've had Pernell Whitaker interview. We've had Jeff Fennick interview. We've had so many guys that have come on board and helped out. So for all your African boxing news and the world over, BoxingAfrica.com.
Sounds quality. Do you want to shout out any other social media, Ken?
Yep. Twitter, K Buhari. That's K as in Kenneth, B as in boy, O-U, H-A-I-R-I-E. And Boxing Africa on Twitter, Instagram. That's Box Africa, B-O-X Africa.
Yeah. Quality. Boxing Africa. Let's go. Right. Finally, I'd like to reintroduce a man. His name is Bo. H to the O-V. He talks boxing like an OG. Excuse my rap. I'm still working on that, you know. Bo, it's Bo from the YouTube channel Truth and Facts Boxing. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I'm doing good.
You like my rap?
Oh well, look, I'm doing good. Moved so far away from the hood, and if it wasn't all that, I wouldn't tell you that everything was down dirty, and I'm just getting down, messing around, looking at these pretty women, but I can't get flirty because I got a wife.
You know what, like, bro, like with that little rap, I'm like trying to fancy my chances against Cassidy. What do you think?
No. No, man. Yeah. You know, man, it's. I just can't tell you guys how much of a pleasure it is to be here, man. With you guys, and you guys always reach out. And my man Kenneth, it's ironic you say that because Uncle James Ali Bashir is actually in Africa training.
Get out of here.
Yes, he has a heavyweight, 6'7", almost 300 pounds he's working with.
What part of Africa do you know?
I have to talk to him. I have to hit him up because I talk to him like all the time. You know?
Okay. So we gotta connect on that.
Exception over there though. Sometimes.
Oh yeah.
That's
the least of our problems.
And you know, for me, something I didn't know is that this time of year is kind of chilly out there.
Yeah, well, it depends on where you are. But yeah, you're right. It is. Even in Ghana, that's true.
Monsoon
that's very
season.
true. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it kind of freaked me out, man. But
yeah, so like, Bo, what's been going on? What's been going on the YouTube channel? What's been happening?
You know, man, a lot's been going on. You have all these fights coming up. There's just so much to talk about. So I find myself doing videos. I might not. Sometimes I can't get them out like that same day, or you know, laptop acting a fool or whatever it is. But yeah, you know, so you know, it's going good, man. I any chance I get to get some kind of content out, I read about boxing. I try to focus, you guys know, on the more positive stuff and not so much as the rumors. But it's been great, man. I can't complain, man. It's been I've been around boxing since I was 5, and I'm almost I ain't gonna give y'all my age, but I'm probably the oldest cat on this panel. I know that. But
what are you saying? OG status, yeah?
Yeah. Triple OG status. I'm up there. But you know, to be part of this community for a year, and the connections I made and the people I was able to be to interview, it's just been amazing to me. So that just really tells me that I wasn't just somebody watching the sport. I was a student of the sport. So it makes me feel good.
Well, good. So, Bo, you want to shout out any social media before we move on?
Yeah, man. Of course, you guys know you can find me right here on Pep Talk UK. You can also find me Truth and Facts About Boxing YouTube channel page. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter, it's capital T for Truth _ capital F for Fact Box 1. And Instagram is just _truth_fact_box1. You can also catch me on The Movement with my fellow compadres, 2K, Prodigy of Boxing, Twanda Devon, Hoop Jab, Big Cool from Colossal Boxing. My partner in crime, Detective Bernard, a.k.a. The Realest Casual. He does some of the funniest skits. He be looking for Mr. Pop. And he calls himself Detective B. Ring IQ, Hands of Fire podcast. Sometime with Ingram. And I'm always talking to UK fighters. Shout out to my man Linus. He won his fight. Shout out to Darren Ray. I interviewed him. He won his fight. And, it was special for me to introduce a cat by the name of Shaq Spear, who is the grandson of Carl Spear, and to hear his story was very special. And I just want to wish my man AJ Carter luck, and Marcus the Great get back in shape. And to my man Terry from Seven Wolves, hey man, hold a pint out for me, man. I'm gonna come get one.
Hold a pint out, yeah. Props to Terry, man. All right, guys, all good. All right, let's get rocking. Ladies and gents, for the fight fans locked in, for the football fans locked in, now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. Let's go. Right, yes, let's get into it. We ready, it's real talk, it's Pep Talk. So we start with the boxing, and it's official. Mikey Garcia got the W against Adrien Broner via unanimous decision from all three judges at the Barclays Card Arena in Brooklyn. Now Pascal, Mikey Garcia, he put on almost a flawless display against Adrien Broner. Are we looking at a pound for pound top tenner?
Well, Frankie B, we certainly are looking at a very well accomplished boxer in terms of, his balance was very good. His timing was exceptional. He's got a very good command of the jab. He's not the most
easy on the eye, is he? Yeah.
I agree with you. I've seen better fighters that excite me a lot more. But let's not forget that in terms of, the fundamentals of boxing, Mikey Garcia is certainly the kind of fighter that, any aspiring boxer or anybody that wants to get into boxing can look at and can actually understand what he does very well.
Very polished.
Very, very polished fighter, very economical in his punches, and, knows when to throw the power shots, knows when to throw the timing shots, and I was very impressed by his command of the fight. I was more so disappointed by Adrien Broner because I know he has a lot more talent in his locker. I know that he can do more and he can showcase more, but for me, I'm just concerned that mentally, as the Marcos Medina fight still haunting him, has he not really bounced back from that defeat? Because for me, during that fight, Broner fought like a man that has no more confidence in his ability. Yeah. He seemed that, he was almost allowing Mikey Garcia to come forward. And the Broner that I'm used to is the kind of Broner that takes control of the ring.
Takes the center of the ring,
that goes toe-to-toe, as we've seen him go toe-to-toe before against Marcos Medina, for instance, at 147 pounds. So I expected Broner, who's used to the weight division, who's been champion at the weight division for a lot longer than Mikey Garcia, to cement himself, to plant himself in the center of the ring. And he did not do that. He moved a lot. And Garcia was very good at cutting the ring off and chasing him down and hunting him down, And also, Garcia's, was far more the busier fighter. He was throwing far many more shots. Broner was a bit lazy, and I'm concerned that Broner's fitness may not be as good as we think it is, and perhaps he wasn't able to keep up with the intensity of the fight, and fortunately for Broner, it's now yet another defeat at a time where we need to question whether Broner is a world-class fighter or not, because it is in times like this that we have to assess the quality of a boxer. Every great boxer had to rise to a challenge, and every time that Broner has been in the mix of difficult fights, he seems to have struggled. He seems not to have been able to reach that stage of greatness. So for me, I believe that Broner has got good boxing skill. I believe that there's a lot more to come from Broner, but I am now convinced that Broner is not quite the elite level fighter that I thought he would be.
Well, on a brighter note, Pascal, Adrien Broner's mixtape's out soon.
Well, I'm sure that will be more entertaining than the last fight, But I mean, we were all very excited when the fight was announced, because at first it was very difficult to pick the winner of that fight. I was very, very, struggling to find who could win the fight. And for me, I was applying pure logic. I was looking at the fact that Adrien Broner was started, as a lightweight. He's won many titles at the division. He's a 4 different, weight division title. Weight champion. So I thought to myself, okay, based on that alone and the fact that he fluctuates between 147 and 140, there's an opportunity for Broner to become the bigger man. But during the fight, Garcia,
whoa, he never lost that weight.
At the weight, the statistics say that he hasn't lost at the weight, but Garcia appeared a much more fuller, much more comfortable fighter at the weight, which surprised me. And I expected Broner to take advantage of his experience and of his, and of his physicality, of his athleticism. I felt that Broner would use his feet a lot more, but he did use his feet, but he didn't let go of his hands. There was no punch combinations. There was certainly not enough activity from Adrien Broner. And for me, it's as a result of a mental state where he's a troubled fighter, and I think that his confidence is showing. His lack of confidence, rather, is showing in his latest performances.
Ken, Mikey Garcia obviously was the busier fighter. Do you think Broner simply just didn't fancy it on the night? Was it about the check?
Well, it's always about the check, but I think that maybe we need to reevaluate Adrien Broner. The talk about him has always been how he's an underachiever, all the great potential that he has. But the truth of the matter is that each time he stepped up against quality competition, he's been soundly defeated. So, our Boxing News editor, Matt Christie, pointed out before the fight, he said that he didn't think Adrien Broner was an underachiever. He thought he was an overachiever. That all of this talk about his potential may not exist. He struggled with distance all night. I think Pascal made a good point about how he couldn't use his size. He didn't seem to have any sort of real plan in the ring, and couldn't beat the smaller Mikey Garcia. Couldn't step up and beat the bigger guys. Not disciplined enough to stay down at 135. Where does he go from here? Maybe he and Andre Berto can have a farewell fight or something. I don't know, but it's not looking good for him. Not at all.
But do you think Mikey Garcia adopted the right tactics by holding the center of the ring and pressurizing Broner like Sean Porter and Maidana?
Yes. Yep, definitely. He can't fight. He can't fight well going backward. And to be quite honest, I don't think he fights that well going forward either. But it's a shame, really. I think his corner was getting on him, pushing him, trying to get him to throw punches, but he wouldn't do that. And I hear he's talking now about changing his corner, but the corner can't go in there and fight for you. You got to be the one to throw punches, and you've got to be the one outside of the ring that's taking care of your body. So Mikey Garcia did what he had to do. He's a consummate professional. It showed. He had he's one thing that Andre Ward said, I remember before the rematch with Sergey Kovalev, was that it doesn't matter how hard Kovalev trains, because it's not just about one camp. It's about what you've been doing your whole life. He said, I've been stacking good training camps my whole life, taking care of myself my whole life. So he's never going to be in better condition than me. And I think that's what happened here. Mikey Garcia is always in the gym. Mikey Garcia doesn't mess around. He's always working at his craft, and it shows. It shows. He was better going forward. He was better going backward. He was just a better fighter.
So we don't play boxing.
No, we don't play it at all. It's not a game.
Now, Bo, how did Mikey Garcia move up in weight to a new weight and still manage to look every inch an elite fighter?
Well, he was able to do it because, and a lot of you guys alluded to it, is the one thing that you have is when you have a brother and a family that's a boxing family, they know how to properly prepare you for every possible outcome for a fight. They don't go into a fight with one game plan. They have several game plans. They don't go into a fight looking at one tape of how you look bad. They go looking at the tapes of how you look good.
Yep.
So when you start doing these things, they can counter. So Mikey was able to move up in weight properly and correctly. And there was something alarming to me that I heard Paulie say, because I picked Mikey to win because I said Mikey is the more proven, consistent fight boxer. Because I heard people say, well, Adrien Broner be the most athletic fighter that Mikey's ever faced. And I said, listen, athleticism win you fights at the B level. They don't win you fights at the A level. Right. They don't win fights at A level, okay? They just don't. You have to have athleticism with some skill, right? Otherwise, you wind up, and I hate to say it, being like Roy Jones. When that athleticism goes away, you have nothing to fall back on. Same thing with Yudakis Gamboa. When that athleticism leaves you, you don't have the fundamentals to fall back on. So, you look at how, not just that, the people who used to say the way to beat Adrien Broner is to pressure him, and I would counter that. And I would counter that by saying, soft landing, precision punches is pressure also. You can come forward and not throw no punches. That don't mean anything. But if you're landing precise punches in the pocket, that's pressure also. Okay? And because what Mikey does very well, he has very good lateral side-to-side movement. Now, he lacks that closing that distance immediately on you. But the reason why it looks so fluid, because if you can go laterally side to side and you get a guy in the ring, and if you're in the middle of the ring and the guy is moving side to side, it's harder to close distance. But if he gets trapped in that corner, now you have the ropes that's 2 feet to your left, 2 feet to your right. So all I got to do is take a half an inch step or a step, like move forward 1 foot, and I close that gap on you, because in order for you to get out of my range, you have to move left or right, and when you move left or right, you got them ropes right there. So the distance it's not so much the distance as the space got smaller for you because I positioned you into the corner. If that makes any sense to anybody, you know, I don't want to lose people. I want to lose.
Truth and backs, yeah.
But if you look at it, and you guys was hinting on it, if you really take a deep look at Adrien Broner, he fought for a lot of vacant titles, and then he had a lot of titles that he lost on the scale. So, and I used this reference. I said Marcos Maidana was to Adrien Broner what Buster Douglas was to Tyson, meaning this is the part where we'll say this is where it started going wrong for you.
Yeah, he showed the blueprint.
That fight, we look back at that fight and say this was the beginning of the end. And that's what we say, you know. And it's a shame because I think, and I hate to say this, he's a four-time champion, but he's a 4-time champion with no marquee name of a victory on his resume. And that's the thing that's going to haunt him. Can he win titles again? Of course he can. If Terence Crawford leaves 140, Adrien Broner beat any of the B-level guys. I actually think if he goes to 147, I know some people disagree with me, but Omar Figueroa, Victor Ortiz, I think he beat them guys because especially Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz will check out. Adrien Broner is a little bit tougher than that. But and then there was something else somebody said to me when I interviewed them, and they said, I wonder who he's sparring with, because if you're sparring with the kind of guys that you're blowing out, that's not preparing you for a guy that's going to give you a good fight. Because you have to have tougher sparring partners that's going to test and push you. So I don't think he needs a new trainer. I don't think he needs a new team. Adrien Broner just needs to probably take a year off from boxing, take a year off from all the drama and the mess, get away from being A.B., the can man, and just be Adrien Broner, the person, find himself, and then go back into the sport of boxing, because that's the only way, in my opinion, because he has the talent. It's there. So, I mean, he showed flashes against Mikey. When he started going to the body, Mikey didn't like that.
The late rounds, yeah. He was coming on the late rounds, even though it was too late.
going to the body, and I think he busted Mikey's nose at one point. Mikey's nose popped him. So you know what I'm saying? It's there. It's just not there at that consistent level.
And but he started messing up Mikey Garcia's hair as well. You know, the gel and all that.
Hey, don't talk about, hey, I'm over here jealous. I ain't got none. My armpits and my nose is making me jealous. But you know, all in all, I think I give props to Mikey because I think it took a challenger like Adrien Broner to bring what we saw out of Mikey. You know, because that was the Mikey Garcia we remembered before he had that layoff. So, man, props to him. I don't think Adrien Broner is a gatekeeper because, listen, he lost. If anybody knows anything about boxing, he's kind of like Fernando Vargas and Obakar. He just lost to some of the top dudes, but
the elites,
you know, right? You know, but he can still win a title and beat some of these B-level guys.
But Ken, in terms of Broner himself, where does he go from here? You know, Bo alluded to the fact that he might need to take a long break. Is it just a question of him just saying, look, I'm going to dedicate myself to the sport from now on?
Yeah, I think so. I think he does need to dedicate himself to the sport. And he's going to have to because Broner strikes me as a person, you know, there's some people who love boxing, who do boxing, and they want to fight their way to stardom. Broner is the type that wants stardom and is trying to use, you know, boxing as a way to obtain that. So, yeah, and so, you know, the reality is that he needs to get serious. He needs to buckle down because he's got 6 baby mamas, and they all have their hand out. So you know so he's not going to get another $1 million payday for some time. I don't care what he says. So he needs to find the right opponent, work his way back up, find the optimal weight, which could be 140. You know, he could do some damage at 147, but he'll never be able to be a champion.
The competition is too fierce at 147. It's too fierce. Yeah,
exactly. So I think 140, he could probably do something. But the thing is that his time may have passed. I mean, I think that what we were looking at on Saturday was one fighter who had many opportunities and blew them against another fighter who's been waiting for this opportunity and took full advantage. And because at 140, there are young guys coming up. Regis Prograis is one. There are many young fighters coming up who, in another year, could probably beat Broner too. So I don't know where he goes from here, but if he wants to continue in the sport, he needs to be serious. I don't think he needs to change his trainer. I was in contact with his trainer throughout the camp. He had great sparring. You know, I'm not at liberty to say which names, but he had great sparring. He had champions come up there. He had Olympians come up there, great amateurs come up to Colorado. He was getting calls left and right from people. So he had pretty good sparring, and he looked good. It wasn't like he went in the ring and was seriously drained or anything like that. He wasn't the better fighter. Period.
So in conclusion, no more world star hip hop for Adrien Broner.
Well, I don't know because now the fight's over. So
the mixtape. It's all about the mixtape now.
And you know, there's one more thing I want to add. Polly said something really alarming to me. He said that when Broner made the weight fairly easy, he asked, and what happened? And Broner said, it's the first time I've ever dieted in my life. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, the yo-yo effect, up and down, yeah. Yep. They said that he usually walks around at 180.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. It wouldn't surprise me. He's high up there when he walks around. You see it in his face, you know.
All right, guys, on the same card, just stay on view, Ken. Your guy, Big Baby, getting a stoppage against Gerald Washington.
Gerald Miller is a great talker. He actually boxes a lot better than he looks physically. Still a lot of work to be done, but he's very busy for a guy that big. He takes a really good punch. I think he could stand to lose another 50 pounds.
It's what, 290 on a night, apparently?
Yeah, 298. You know? So I think he could stand to lose another 50 pounds. It's amazing to me that he's so good at this weight. You know, Gerald Washington is just not a natural boxer. I think maybe if he started earlier, he could have done something with his career. But I thought Miller looked good, you know, for what it was. He's been out of the ring for a long time, and he's still coming up. He's, like I said, he's a great talker. All this talk about Anthony Joshua is a little bit extreme.
Yep.
Yeah, not even premature. Just forget it, dude. But him against Wilder, maybe a year or two from now, could be very, very interesting. I know that they've had some radio arguments before. Miller was talking trash on the radio. Wilder called in, and they had a big back and forth. So, I could see that fight happening in a year or so. I think the next step for Miller is probably someone like a Parker or Dylan White. I'd like to see him test himself against those guys, and then we see where he's at.
I think fight against Dillian White will be a very exciting fight. Because Gerard Miller is just like Chisora. They're very, very similar. So the fact that, these guys, Dillian White and Chisora had a great fight, probably would be the same thing.
Yep. I completely agree. And I think also the pre-fight hype would be great for that kind of fight. Gerald Miller knows how to sell a fight. I mean, he took it to poor Gerald Washington. He was just out of his league, and he's got that Brooklyn trash talk down pat. And you got to respect someone who can do that and back it up. He took some big shots in there and walked through it.
Bro, in terms of Gerald Miller, future world champ for you or not really?
Oh man, I'm not really high on either one of these guys. Like, I think Big Baby Miller is a tree trunk arms. Gerald Miller is he's the quintessential prototype of a guy who's played one sport too long and then tried another sport. Like, I think he played football.
Right.
So,
looks like one. Yeah.
Yeah, he came into boxing. Future world champion Gerald Miller, that really depends. That depends on what
circumstances.
Who he's fighting.
Well, who he's fighting, what's going to happen with the sanctioning bodies, if Joshua wind up losing one of his belts and something like that. Yeah. Right now, to be honest with you,
but he could beat Parker though. You think he could beat Parker?
The only reason why he could beat Parker is because Parker's too nice. Okay, like, say what you want to say about Deontay Wilder. You see that, like, Deontay Wilder, when he punches, he punches like he wants to punch through you. Same thing Anthony Joshua. Yeah, and same thing with Anthony Joshua. He wants to punch through you. Parker is kind of like, I'll move left and move right. Parker, he doesn't have that mean streak to him, and I think a guy like Gerald Miller, he smells that, and he would just jump on him. And coming in, now, I thought it was a mistake him coming in so heavy, but
298. Wow.
But that helped him because he got hit with some big shots, so he was able to absorb those shots because he was so big. Washington just didn't fight the right game plan. Joe Washington should have. He tried to box and stay in the pocket. He should have been moving. He should have been using the ring. He should have made Miller use that body, carrying it, moving around the ring, trying to find him instead of being there to be hit. So those were little mental mistakes. But like I said, I'm not really high on either one of these guys. I think the top guys beat them. Luis Ortiz, Wilder, Joshua. I think they beat. But I do believe that Gerald Miller can make a very strong case. I'm with you guys. Like, if he fights Dylan White or what's the guy that beat Christian Hammer? What's the guy's name?
Man.
You know what I'm talking about? If he fights one of those guys, he can make some noise. The only thing that's gonna hurt him probably, like with Anthony Joshua and like Vladimir Klitschko, is ring IQ. Ring IQ is gonna hurt him with those guys. And with Deontay Wilder has what I always refer to as lean muscle. He's 225. He's lean. He has that high energy and high outrate, and I think Joshua can expose some of the technical flaws that we see in Miller. Although Joshua has some technical flaws himself.
Right.
He does. He has some, but I think Miller wouldn't want to attack Wilder like he did Washington, because everybody knows that right hand puts you. If they don't put you down, it dazes the crap out of you. So, I'm just glad that the heavyweight division is just getting the buzz that it's getting.
Right.
Yes, certainly. Pascal Gerald Miller.
Well, I didn't like his shots. You know, I felt that they didn't compliment him very well. But in terms of in terms of his aggression, in terms of his desire, I mean, he showed it there. You know, for me, I felt that Washington was a bit tentative. You know, he seems like a very nice guy. You know, Paul talked about Joseph Parker being a nice guy. I believe that Washington is pretty much the same kind of guy. You know, that will help take the cat out of the tree for you. And he showed during the fight, and it seems to me that Jarrell Miller is, he's certainly making a case for himself to fight other notable heavyweight fighters in the division. But does he have the skill? And does he have the technique and the ability to remain world champion for quite some time? I'm not too sure. I just, as Bo said before, I can see Anthony Joshua beating him. I can certainly see, Vladimir Klitschko beating him.
Chisora?
Chisora will be a very good fight with him, but Chisora is quite experienced, you know. The only problem with Chisora is he tends to suffer and he tends to fade during the late rounds. You know, his fitness is never always been on his side, but that'll be a very good and explosive fight because they are very similar fighters. Again, Hughie Fury can control the fight, I think, with him. So, there's certainly quite a lot of heavyweight fighters there that will give him some trouble. But in terms of becoming a crowd favorite and appealing to the boxing viewers, I think that Jarrell Miller has that, as we would say in French, that je ne sais quoi. You know, he has that interesting element about him that you would want to see him. You know, you would want to hear from him, hear the kind of insults he will be, telling his opponent. So I think he still has a lot to offer the sport of boxing. Whether or not he gets, the opportunity to become world champion, we have to see a lot more from him, in my opinion.
Indeed. Right, guys, that does us. Now it's interview time. Ahead of Billy Joe Saunders versus Willie Monroe Jr. on September the 16th, our boxing correspondent Shaz spoke with both fighters on how they plan to get the W. First up, let's hear from the WBO middleweight champion of the world, Billy Joe Saunders, with his trainer, Dominic Ingle.
Pep Talk UK are joined by a chap I've got a lot of time for. I've seen some tear-ups, I've seen him have some sparring sessions. It's Mr. Billy Joe Saunders, and a man that describes me as water.
Gets everywhere.
Dominic Ingle, how you doing, gents?
I'm good.
All good.
Billy, big fight this. I like the look of Willie.
You like the look of Willie?
Yeah, I like the look of this Willie.
That could have been easily gone the wrong way, saying.
But I
like the look of Willie's.
Sometimes,
Billy's been in a bit of trouble of late.
We've got to be careful.
Comment.
Got to be careful what I say.
Not take us down that path again.
Well, let's rephrase that. I like the look of Willie Monroe Jr.
That's the one,
fighter.
yeah.
I think he's going to turn up. I think he's going to fight. I think he's going to turn up. He's going to fight. We've got competition, and we've got a big day up.
Yeah. Listen, this is his chance, his big show, his big chance to win, to become world champion. His second attempt, I believe. He come up short against Golovkin, but there's one thing in me that there's never a quit, and I think when somebody just puts that little break on when it gets hard, it's always in the back of the mind when it happens again. Things get hard and not going their way. Will he quit inside? Will he give up? I don't know. Maybe he did it against Golovkin. I'm not going on that. I'm going on my skill, my mindset and will to win. I mean, look, it's a good fight on paper as well. It's a very good fight, but I think that these sort of fights you've got to be very clever and cute with, because you can't afford no slip-ups, and if you have a bad night, someone like him, he could pick you up on it. So you've got to make sure everything's 100%.
Well, clearly you're not underestimating him.
No, definitely not. If I was underestimating him, I'd be back in London training, doing the same old shit rubbish. But I'm not. I'm out in Sheffield, in the Ingle gym, working hard, and this man's put me through my paces.
No, I know he's sitting right beside us, but what do you think of old Dominic?
He's not a bad old fella, is he? He's alright.
I'll catch up with you later and we'll finish that bit of the interview.
Yeah.
Mr. Ingle, you got a proper stable, ain't you?
Yeah, we've always had it. Listen, over the years, we've always had a good stable. You get years where you've got great guys in, then sometimes you have a bit of a dip. You get one or two good guys in, but at the minute, you know, Billy's joined the gym. Kid Geller had a good win last night. He's been living with Billy. You know, Billy's been on that regime. He's put himself through it for the last 3 weeks. And, you know, bit by bit, everything's building up nicely.
How do you see it going on fight night?
We'll have to see. I mean, obviously I watched a lot of Willie Monroe Jr. when when we had Khaled fighting Golovkin. Obviously got to see how Golovkin handles the southpaw style, because there were times in that fight when Kel switched. And for 4 or 5 rounds I thought he did very well. He just seemed to run out of ideas and run out of gas. He got put under pressure and he seemed to fold a little bit, but then again, that's what happens with most people who fight Golovkin.
I'll be honest, I'm excited by this fight. Not for the fact that it's for a WBO belt, but I always like Billy out. I always like watching him in the ring. And I'll be honest, it's been too long before he's been in the ring. And as a fight fan, I'm just excited to have him back.
Billy, these fighters like Billy Kilbrook, there's a lot of good fighters. I think James Agill's another one. They're like high performance sports cars. But the only thing is, they're not maintained well. They don't go in for a check-up, and they don't have the oil change regularly. They can all fight, but I just sometimes think that they rely on that a bit too much don't concentrate on the proper training side of it, the nutrition side of it. They just think, well, all I've got to do is get in a fight, and that's true, but to go in and put on a good fight, you've got to be disciplined to the point where that's the only thing what's happening in your life in 12 weeks time. Nothing else matters, and you can't live your life in a 12-week camp like you normally do and then just switch on for 2 weeks before. You've got to switch on at the beginning of the camp and think, the only thing what matters in my life is hitting that ring in 12 weeks and winning, and every other thought process has got to go out the window. And I think Billy's been guilty of that in the past, and I think after his last performance, I think he actually said on TV, I was disappointed with the performance, rubbish fight, not taking anything away from that. And he took a big leap of faith. He's jumped away from where he lives and he's come to live away from home, and that's a massive thing because not many people can do it. They like the comfort zone, but the thing with boxing, you can't be in a comfort zone in boxing. You've got to take yourself out of the comfort zone and put yourself through it, and he's done that. He's been here 3 weeks, and I think if it wasn't for him, he'd have gone in the first 7 days, because what he had to do in the first 7 days was difficult, diet-wise, adjusting to living other people, being in the gym, but he's dropped in like he's always been there.
Billy, I see you nodding all the way through what Dominic's saying. There's clearly respect there on both Dominic's part when he speaks about you and on your part, because you've nodded all the way through that. I think you found yourself a home. Yeah,
listen, I mean, it's funny because it's really back where I started, where it all kicked off. Sheffield, I was there for 3 years on the Olympic squad, and it's just a good vibe and buzz around it. And do you know what? I used to hate it when Thursdays comes and I used to have to go back there on the England squad. I used to think, but looking back on it now I'm more mature, more wiser. That's what got me where I am today. Because that taught me discipline. And I'm back there now, and I love it there. You've got a good crack with all the boys there. We train together and that, and we do a few runs and that. It's just on the machines. It's nice. It's just good to be around other fighters that live the life 24/7. And I'm living with, as he said, Barry. I'm in Barry's house, and just as you see the way he lives, it's just second to none. Because, like I say, he's just I watch him, he weighs everything, everything's just watched to the perfection. It's just nice to see, because you sort of click into that sort of mode.
I was with him the other day. He had me feeling up his legs. Has he got you to do that yet?
No, not yet. No.
Do you know what? Just say Shaz said hi, and he tells me you think you got legs of a middleweight. Have a little look at his legs.
Everyone's got big legs up there. Everyone's got big legs up the Sheffield.
I think when you got into the ring and did the pads the other day, you realise why now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's like a bouncy castle in the ring.
It's like a trampoline.
It's good though.
Well, gents, thank you very much for your time today. I've got a funny feeling I know where that belt's going to stay on the night of the 16th.
Yep. Listen, I mean, I'm confident as ever. I'm putting the work in. I'm putting the hard work in as well. I'm living it. Diet's right. I will turn up to the best of my ability, I know.
Well, and the fans are going to turn up right behind you at the copper box. You've got home advantage. Everyone's going to be cheering you on.
Yep.
Let's make all the makings of a great fight.
100%.
Nice one, Billy. Nice one, Dominic.
Thank you.
Cheers,
man.
Thank you, Billy Joe. Thank you, Dominic Ingle. finally, let's hear from the man they call Mongoose, the man that is the challenger to Billy Joe, Willie Monroe Jr.
Pep Talk UK, I joined by a chap from across the pond, someone I got a lot of time for. He's going to be fighting for the first time in 2017. Had an impressive couple of wins in 2016, including Gabriel Rosado. It's Mr. Willie Monroe Jr. How you doing?
Doing good. Yourself?
I'm very well. You've got a big one coming up.
Yeah.
I see you. I got your eyes already on a WBO belt. I see you looking at it.
Yeah. It's pretty, isn't it?
It is pretty. But
look even more pretty around my waist.
Unfortunately,
I should go put it on right now.
The problem is there's a chap in the middle of that who owns it at the moment. His name is Billy Joe Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your plans with Billy Joe?
By any means necessary, I need that belt. I need it.
Brother,
I want it.
Brother, how hungry are you?
I ain't eaten years, man. I ain't eaten years, and I mean that. That's how hungry I am. Think about how hungry you are when you haven't eaten. When we haven't eaten in days. I haven't eaten in years.
See, I know a little bit about boxing. Mm-hmm. I know a little bit about backstories. I know a little bit about how you come from a place called Monroe as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know a little bit about your family background.
Mm-hmm.
Let our listeners know which one of your family members were boxers and their background.
Well, my great uncle beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler. First person. Marvin Hagler only has 3 losses. That's Willie the Worm Monroe, who's my great uncle, Boogaloo Watts, and Sugar Ray Leonard. And then my father was a top middleweight in the 90s, and now it's me.
You got a lovely nickname. What's your nickname?
El Mongoose.
Where did you get the nickname El Mongoose from?
Well, it comes. The El Mongoose is Latin for my Spanish background. You know, on my grandfather's side, the Cuban. But a friend of mine named Sammy Torres gave me the name El Mongoose because we were watching a mongoose versus a cobra. And if you watch a mongoose, they're very furry. They're small. They look like squirrels. They look like they wouldn't harm a fly. But when that switch is flipped, it turned into something ferocious, and they hunt snakes. What other animal hunt snakes? Snakes are one of the most deadly animals on the earth. They hunt snakes.
Ladies and gents, I've just taken a backward step from this chap because he comes across lovely, but he's an animal in the ring.
Yes, that's I smile. I'm very soft spoken. I'm very humble. But if you take it there, we could take it there.
You've already been in the rings with the likes of Gennady Golovkin,
right?
So I'm sure another guy that holds a few belts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've already been on the big stage.
Right.
This isn't. You're not going to be intimidated by this fight.
No, not at all. You have to. What do they say? Bet big, win big. You feel what I'm saying? Scared money don't make no money. So you have to go out and do Jurassic things if you want to be, extraordinary. So coming across the pond, and I have a lot of love over here also. I check on my Instagram, my Twitter. I have a lot of love from the UK. So it's not going to be all his house, but I know I'm coming into someone else's backyard. I know he has a hometown advantage, but I'm Willie Monroe Jr.
Brother, win, lose or draw, it's going to be a fantastic fight.
Yeah.
I think we're in for a bit of a tear up.
Yeah.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And enjoy your time in the UK.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Lovely, brother.
Cracking interviews. Thank you, Shaz. Now it's football time. And as the season draws closer, teams are looking to strengthen their squads. But firstly, we're going to have to talk about the massive deal in the pipeline. And by the time the podcast is out there, Neymar will be a PSG player. Now, Pascal,
wait,
it's big money. Neymar to PSG is virtually done.
It's an astonishing deal, Frankie B. In terms of the value of the transfer, he could rise all the way up to £450 million in fees, that's nearly $500 million.
That's the Emirates Stadium right there.
It's in one player. It's astronomical. The buyout clause, as you know, is 222 million euros, approximately 119 million pounds. So you are already shattering the transfer market, which was held by Paul Pogba last season, where he was bought for 100 million, I believe. you know, the likes of Gareth Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo have held that, you know, 90 million. And even then you told yourself, perhaps this is the ceiling. There's no other player that can be worth that kind of money. And Neymar, the Brazilian, suddenly comes along and destroys all sorts of rumors, and what we felt that the player could be bought for has now been bought for. I mean, it's unbelievable. Not even Kylian Mbappe, you know, even Kylian Mbappe's transfer, you know, is almost eclipsed by this, you know. It's just unbelievable what the money involved in football nowadays is just astonishing.
But the thing with Mbappe, you know, our question is 135 million fee. But with Neymar, even though it is excessive, he is generally world class. He is world class. That's the thing.
Neymar is an absolute phenom when it comes to football.
He is,
you know, and you know, he deserves to be paid a lot more than what he was getting paid. I believe that Lionel Messi was on £53 million per annum, and Neymar was only earning 15 million. And you know, Neymar is a good player, and he certainly deserved close to 20s or 30s at least. But you know, the fact that there was a big gulf between the two players in terms of wage structure, I think Neymar is an ambitious player. I think he knows that he has the minerals and he has the capabilities to be just as good as Lionel Messi. Messi is aging, of course. He's not going to provide any more than what he has already given to Barcelona. Therefore, the future should be in Neymar, and Neymar possibly felt that Barcelona still did not give him the backing or the faith required. You know, and he's a very shrewd and intelligent young man, Neymar, and he felt that, look, if I want to become great, I need to make the ultimate sacrifice and leave perhaps, you know, one of the best technical teams, or, you know, in Spain, let alone around the world, and make his mark. You know, if you remember, the greats have done this in history. Maradona, you know, went to Napoli, to Napoli, and look what he's done there. So I expect Neymar at Paris Saint-Germain to win the Ligue 1 title. That's definitely something that is going to almost a given, you know, provided that PSG give him the right support. I expect Paris Saint-Germain to become French champions next season. They are also going to be in the Champions League. Therefore, you know, with acquiring a player like Neymar, it now means that other players, you know, will now be looking at Paris Saint-Germain as a team to go and play with, you know, because of the type of player they're attracting. You know, I mean, this is a team that could not even get these French players 10 years ago. Now they're attracting some of the best talent around the world. So it's only a matter of time until Paris Saint-Germain become a force to be reckoned with in the European football. And they are desperate to win the Champions League. And by buying a player like Neymar, they made the intention very clear.
Yeah. The thing with Neymar is he's a lot younger than Messi. I just can't see what Barca are doing. I'll be honest. I know Messi is a legend, but Neymar's younger, right? And he's got at least 5 more years at the top of his game. Messi will be retiring in probably about 3 years.
Yes,
it makes better sense to keep Neymar, in my view.
I agree. I certainly agree, because, you know, you'll need to have this continuation of elite footballers, you know, and the fact that you know, Messi is still very much plays at the highest level, but let's not forget that Messi is also, you know, beginning to sustain injuries. You know, he's developed far more, injuries over the last few seasons than he has before, showing his age, of course. He's only a mere mortal, like most of us are. So it would make sense for the hierarchy at Barcelona to invest in Neymar, you know, and to retain him, and to give him the support that he needs, and certainly give him the wage structure that shows commitment to Neymar, and that shows him, and that tells him that, look, we want you to remain a Barcelona player, just like Lionel Messi, you know, has been a Barcelona player for most of his career. So from that point of view, I'm a bit flabbergasted at the fact that Messi, whilst he's still a good player, is now being chosen above Neymar. And they invested, pretty much put the eggs all in one basket, and it's a big concern, because if Messi gets injured this season, who will they rely upon? Suarez, perhaps, but he may force them to go to Liverpool and to buy Philippe Coutinho. But Philippe Coutinho certainly, well, he's a good player. He's not quite a Neymar replacement, though, is he? So
Dybala from Juventus.
Certainly, Dybala has been uttered on the lips of Messi. Messi has made it very clear that he wants Dybala at Barcelona. So we could well see some interesting transfer activity over the next few weeks. You know, where Dybala could be going the other way. We could be going to Spain. You know, he's certainly looking that way. But you know, but Barcelona will have close to 200 million euros to spend on whatever player they want. They can rebuild practically another team if they wanted to. So I can certainly see Barca replacing Neymar with a Dybala player, or maybe even Philippe Coutinho, or maybe getting both of them at the same time.
I would urge them to make a swoop for Ramsey, Giroud and Coquelin.
That would be good for that would be certainly a good sell for the Arsenal Football Club. But you know, I know that Barcelona are also interested in Ousmane Dembélé, you know, another French player. There's also talks of Antoine Griezmann also, you know, as part of the conversation. It would make sense. Griezmann understands, you know, La Liga very well. You know, he's acclimatized to the Spanish way of football. He's proven himself to be a good player, and he's also, without taking anything away from Antoine Griezmann, he's a type of player that would quite happily sit, you know, below Lionel Messi, if that makes sense. You know, you've got some players who are quite happy to be number 2, you know, and sometimes it's about the balance of the team, you know, Frankie. And when you have a player like Neymar who's just as ambitious as Lionel Messi, he can create difficulties, because you could see that, you know, whilst Barcelona play very good football, you know, Messi's presence demanded the ball most of the time. You know, everything had to go through Lionel Messi. And politically, he's a boss, so, and you know, politically, I felt that Messi had more of a say than Neymar could ever, you know, have a say at the time. So I think Neymar, you know, understood very quickly that the big dog is Lionel Messi, and if he wants to make a name for himself in football, it's a short career, of course, as well. He has to go somewhere else to make his mark. So I think the streets of Paris will be very happy to welcome such beautiful talent. It's also a big credit to the French league, also, to attract world-class level players. You know, and it's certainly going to be a revolution in French football, in my opinion.
Yes, and he's moved to PSG for footballing reasons alone.
Well, I'm sure that he's rumored to be earning close to £500,000 a week. You know, so that's enough to make anybody want to move to France. You know,
hey, that's enough to do the Harlem Shake around your bedroom, mate.
Of course, yes. So you know, the strip club of Paris will be very happy to welcome him.
It's going to throw up the bills. So. Pascal, just moving on to another transfer within the Premiership. Matic has made that move to Chelsea's rivals, Manchester United. Now, we talked about it for weeks, and it looks like this Championship building side of Man United is coming together nicely.
Well, you know, I was a bit surprised by that move.
To a rival.
Because you know, I mean, Matic, you know, when he returned after being sold by Chelsea, you know, he was an exceptional player. You know, he commanded the midfield very well. He was a rock of the midfield. You know, he had very interesting battles between Yaya Touré, and he made Yaya Touré, you know, as a small boy. You know, he was able to handle him very well. Last season, I didn't feel that Matic, you know, played as well as the previous season. And, you know, and Kante, of course, you know, coming in, made him, you know, showed how great Kante was, and made Matic appear, you know, somewhat a shadow of himself, you know. And I was quite surprised that Mourinho would be willing to pay close to £40 million, you know, for a player like Matic, who he's been sold before by Chelsea, so it was quite surprising. But obviously, I believe that Mourinho, you know, can rely on Matic, because Matic is not necessarily the type of player that will score you goals, but he reminds me of the white version of John Obi Mikel, where he's very functional, you know, Mourinho can tell him what to do, can tell him how to execute it, and Matic will do that very well. So Matic will certainly complement Paul Pogba's football, and I think Paul Pogba defensively is not the best midfielder, and Manchester United rely on Paul Pogba to move forward with the rest of the striking force. So I believe that in this season, Mourinho will be looking for Matic as a strong defensive midfielder to hold the midfield and allow Paul Pogba to move forward a bit more.
It's looking tantalizing already.
You can see where it's going, So it's going to be a very interesting season where you literally have, two big, very tall, midfielders. One that is more defensive than the other, but at the very least, because as you can see, sometimes Paul Pogba has the knack of losing the ball by trying to be a bit too tricky, by trying to be too flashy, and you can have the sweeper, of Matic coming in behind him, and sweeping away and recovering some of the lost balls that Paul Pogba is likely to misplace.
Because I'm looking at it, I'm thinking Man United probably have the best overall squad now. Because you're looking at left back, you've got Luke Shaw, left back, you've got on the right, you've got Valencia, Bailey in the middle, with Lindelof, the new signing, De Gea, world-class goalkeeper. You've got Carrick and Matic holding, Pogba, you can play Mkhitaryan on either side, Rashford at either side, Martial, Lukaku, mate, it's ridiculous, mate.
It's looking very, very balanced.
Strong.
It's looking strong, and I expect Manchester United, certainly I expect the two Manchester team, to launch a title bid this season. It's in my opinion, only 3 teams can be challenging for the title, and these are the two Manchester United teams, as well as the Chelsea team of London. I don't see anyone else, in the Premiership title, challenging for the title.
What about Arsenal? We just picked up the Emirates Cup, mate.
I mean, in dubious form, as far as I'm concerned, it's this dodgy goaling rule, that allowed Arsenal to win their own tournament. It's worse than an African president election. I'm not, exactly. I'm not very enthusiastic about it. For me, the big test will be to see how well we play against Chelsea on Sunday. We already lost to them during the pre-season tours.
In Shanghai, I think it was. Shanghai?
It was in Far East China, and it's important to see how well Chelsea have recruited this season, but also as Wenger, had enough time to understand the team, to understand the system that works. Will it be a repeat of the FA Cup final, or will it just be another chink in the armor of Arsenal's defense, showing defensive frailties, showing the lack of ambition in the transfer market? Lemar still has not been bought by Arsenal, whilst Manchester United is easily spending 40 million on Matic. We have a PSG buying Neymar for £198 million, and Arsenal are putting together the pennies to buy Lemar. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Those kind of deals should be done very quickly, and it's the frustration that Arsenal fans from all around the world feel every year. That there's a player that are linked with Arsenal, a good player, a player that can excite the fans, that can excite the players themselves, and yet the board and the Arsenal policy of acquiring player is still dragging its heels. It's just disappointing.
Stan Kroenke launches a new TV channel, hunting channel as well. I mean, that's even more frustrating.
Well, that's certainly for all those money contributed to your stadium seats, Frankie. At least you know where that is going. It's certainly not going to North London. It's going to a new hunting channel.
And maybe another ranch for Stan Kroenke.
Or another £3 million of consultancy fees that he likes to pay himself. I mean, it's quite clear that Stan Kroenke doesn't give two monkeys, as they say in England, about Arsenal. He's just more concerned about the bank balance and how much money that the club's bringing in. But as far as football is concerned, it's not his passion. It's not what he, what he dreams about, what he talks about, what he, that does not drive him. His passion is in other endeavors, and that's a problem for Arsenal, because, had he been a bit more enthusiastic about the club and enthusiastic about the title and the various trophies that can be won, believe you me, Stan Kroenke would have made a bit more of an effort, and it seems to me that he's not interested in the glories or the future glories of Arsenal. He's more interested in the economic balance of the club.
Speaking of Arsenal and speaking of Chelsea, let's move forward to the weekend's curtain raiser for the season. Chelsea playing Arsenal at Wembley. Now, Pascal, it's the rematch for the FA Cup final. It's a one-off game. It's the curtain raiser. Predictions, please. Chelsea to get revenge, or will Arsenal be the bogey side again?
I believe that Chelsea will get their revenge this time around. I think that Conte will have learned from the last defeat against Arsene Wenger, and he will prepare his team in a much more different way. I believe that defensively Chelsea will be a lot more compact, and they will be far more offensive, and they will punish Arsenal given the opportunity. Arsenal also tend to start very quietly, very slowly, at the start of most seasons. And I believe that on this occasion, I can see Chelsea actually maybe humbling Arsenal, and I can see another 3-0 victory for Chelsea.
But Sanchez is back now. He's just got back into training this week, and he's looking happy from some of the pictures that I saw on the website. It looks like, he's probably staying now. I don't know if that's his choice, but maybe that might boost Arsenal to victory.
Sanchez will, if Sanchez play, and if he does play, he'll always play with the enthusiasm and with the heart of a lion that he has. But that certainly does not mean that he can remain at the club. There's still enough time for someone else to come in with a record bid, and who knows, the acquisition of Neymar may well tempt some of the other clubs to come in and offer a bit more money for Sanchez. We don't know. There's certainly an opportunity for Sanchez to leave the Emirates Stadium. It's not guaranteed, so until the transfer window is completely shut, Frankie B, I would not yet be comfortable with whether or not Sanchez will remain a North London player. It's still yet to be seen. But it's good to see that he's back in training. And, we know that Sanchez will always give us the commitment that he always has given us, since he's joined the club. So, it's certainly good to have him back. And I think there's a lot of relief in some of the players. But, more importantly, we've got Sanchez back, but who else can we bring to the club to make Sanchez even more happy, and to give Sanchez that confidence boost that, look, I want to remain at Arsenal beyond my 12 months contract. That's the most important thing. And so far, I'm a bit nervous that the club has not yet given that intention of wanting to win trophies by bringing in the players that will excite anybody, let alone Sanchez.
Yeah. And you look at Arsenal, we were well off the pace last season, and yet we've only brought in 2 players. Now, let's be honest, the top teams around Europe weren't chasing them. To this day, we still haven't bought any more players that you could say that can go straight into the first 11. It's really disappointing.
It is, I'm not sure why Wenger is not being, more aggressive. He's been awarded a 2-year contract.
It's chilling, isn't it? He's chilling.
I'm sure that he's looking beyond those 2 years. I'm pretty sure of that. And for me, I would launch a statement of intention. If you're giving me 2 more years at the club, and I literally, following the protests and the banners and the various insults that he's experienced over the last 2 seasons, Wenger should have gone out of his way to make a statement of intent to himself and to the fans that, look, I'm here to stay, but I've listened to your cries, I've listened to your pleas, and this is the type of players that we're going to be bringing to the club. Even if he doesn't get the players, but Arsenal are showing intent to buy those players, he will get a bit more credit for it.
Well, we showed intent. We bid 90 million for Mbappe, right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we bid, but did we really think that we're going to get it for 90 million?
Yeah, it was just
you know,
to be honest, yeah.
it's pretty much the old smoke screen. I think that Lacazette was always on the cards. You know, even he wasn't easy to get. You know, there was a bit of negotiation.
That took 12 months. Yeah.
Lemar could well be missing out on him, because I believe that the Lemar deal is based on the basis that Mbappe goes to Real Madrid. Lemar and Mbappe are very good friends, you know. So if Mbappe remains at Monaco for another season, I can see Lemar staying. If Mbappe is on his way out, then don't be surprised if he joins the North London club shortly thereafter. So we'll have to wait, you know, as to how the Mbappe saga, you know, unfolds over the next few days.
We will. But we look forward to the start of the Premiership. Let's have it. Now, Pascal, what are you saying? You're saying 3-0?
Unfortunately, I'm going 3-0 Chelsea. What about you?
I would say it will be 2-0 to Chelsea. Morata will score a brace.
Okay.
And then there'll be riots at the Arsenal Stadium the following week.
Well, you know, look, I don't mind if we lose this game, you know, as long as we start the season against Leicester in good fashion, in winning fashion. Though Leicester have just confirmed the buying of Iheanacho. Iheanacho,
yeah, 25 mil.
You know, he's a good solid little player. So, you know, as long as we can keep him quiet, you know, there's a chance that we may well beat them. But let's wait and see. But to me, that's the game that I'm looking forward to. Is the opener, the proper opener to the Premier League season, next week Friday.
Yes, the Premier League's back. Now that's our time. I'd like to thank Pascal, Bo and Ken. Join us again next week for another Pep Talk UK podcast. Don't forget to please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. Thank you very much. Right, that's us.
That's what you